Konnichiwa, Menlo. If you don't know me, I'm Ms. Nakayama, and today it's my very great honor to introduce my friend Ryo Chichiiwa. Ryo and I were actually in the same 5th grade class a long time ago in Dusseldorf, Germany. And fast forward a couple decades, we reconnected via the magic of Facebook, and we realized we lived within a mile of each other. It's been really a pleasure getting to know Ryo as an adult, because I think he is a very inspiring guy who really lives by an impressive ethical code. Ryo worked as a software engineer here in Silicon Valley for several years. He worked for Yahoo, and then he worked for Google, and quit Google voluntarily to buy 60 acres of land in Northern California, where he built his own cabin, basically with his own 2 hands. And for stretches of time, he lives off his land and is more or less off the grid. He has solar power for all his energy needs. He collects rainwater for his garden and for his drinking water. And he still does some tech work here in the area, and he also started his own company recently called Bootstrap Solar, and then it builds, he makes build-it-yourself solar power chargers, battery pack chargers, that can power iPhones and iPads, so Bootstrap Solar, if you're interested in his company. Last spring, Ryo was in the middle of a month-long stint where he didn't leave his land. He was living in his cabin, and he heard about the earthquake and subsequent tsunami that hit Japan on March 11th. The earthquake was the most powerful to ever hit Japan, and it was one of the 5 most powerful earthquakes in recorded history. It shifted Honshu, the main island of Japan, by 8 feet, and it shifted the earth on its axis by at least 4 inches. As most of you know, you heard about it in Assembly last year, and on the news, I'm sure. The subsequent tsunami caused unprecedented devastation. The waves rushed up to 6 miles inland. At least 20,000 people lost their lives, and many more lost their homes and their livelihoods. Nuclear power plants melted down. The damage was absolutely mind-boggling. It's the single most expensive natural disaster in world history in terms of dollars, and the human toll, of course, was enormous. So Ryo decided to do something to help. Last year, he traveled to Japan to volunteer with tsunami cleanup efforts and ended up staying for 2 months. He's here to share his experiences with you. You'll learn what it's like to be an international volunteer in a disaster zone in a country that is, in many ways, not very different from our own. So I hope you'll give Ryo your respectful attention. Please put your phones away. And I am so very pleased to present Ryo Chichiiwa.